dead person talking about death. Hi everyone, I'm back again with another video. Second video I've ever recorded, and yes, I'm talking about death. Getting straight in there. I want to make a disclaimer. The title of this video is called Death Thoughts. I am not dead having these thoughts. I am alive having thoughts on death. Now, that disclaimer might seem redundant, but based on the nature of the English language, it could be interpreted either way. Although the thoughts that I'm going to be discussing in this video might make this disclaimer not that redundant by its conclusion. Alright, so my first point is, how do we know that we're not dead? I have this thought every now and then that this life that we're experiencing could just very well be death. Now, we have collectively, as a human race, although I haven't asked everyone in the human race, but I'm going to make the bold assumption that we as a human race have collectively agreed that we are all alive, and this is what life is. But what if it's not? What if this is what death is? What if everything we're experiencing, this physical vessel, this consciousness, our feelings, our emotions, both good and bad, like heartache, joy, pain, love, hurt, grief, happiness, euphoria, the whole range of human emotion, all of that is just a part of what death is. And we have just collectively decided that it's life, but it could, as mentioned, what if this is all just death? I find it amusing how we discuss death as if it's unknown and that we fear death. But what if we're just the dead discussing the dead? It seems paradoxical, but it could be a possibility. Who's to say? Of what is thought of death, we don't actually know what happens to us when we die. Sure, we have assumptions, we have hopes, some of us may even have religious beliefs that have indications of what happens with death, but we don't actually know it. We can't know it because as when we are dead, we won't be here in consciousness, reveling in the fact that we have experienced death and know what it is. So yes, what I'm proposing is that we are just a bunch of dead people discussing death. And to me, it's quite humorous because of just of the irony of it all. And I do understand that this sounds quite far-fetched, but I believe it's as valid as most other ideas on death because there's no real way of knowing. That's the whole thing. We don't actually know. Fear of death. As a concept, I don't fear death. However, I never fear death more than when I'm experiencing happiness. When I was a teenager up until my mid-20s, I had depression. And as with depression, I had very low times where I just wanted to end it all. I would be experiencing such deep, intense, painful emotions that I thought the only way for it to stop was death. Nothingness. Because there are no emotions in death. Well, of what is thought. Call back to earlier in the video. Anywho, I didn't want to be the cause of my own death, so I just spoke to the ether and just hoped that death would strike me. Consequently, it did not, because I'm here. Alive, I think. So I kept on living, and as is the nature with life, I inevitably experienced happiness. I would be laughing with a friend or scoring a goal in football or falling in love, and I would think in those moments, I'm so afraid of dying right now. If I dwelled on that thought, I would make myself upset and then I would send myself spiraling down another pit of depression, which is actually very cruel of my brain to do that to me when I'm experiencing such a high. However, it did really make me appreciate life more because yes, one day I actually could be dead and I won't be able to experience this happiness. So it did make it all the more special. Now, as I am in my late 20s, I would say that I don't have depression anymore, but I do still have the thought of when I'm experiencing immense happiness that I'm so afraid to die right now. And I don't dwell in it as much anymore. I am much more pragmatic in my approach. I literally tell myself, yes, but you're not dead right now, so shut up and enjoy it. That might seem rash, but I do tell myself to shut up a lot. Psychologists might not agree with that you probably shouldn't talk to yourself like that. But it does help me to not go down a rabbit hole of depression. And on that note, I find it so fascinating that I could have such morbid thoughts and then the same I can be like, shut up, don't have those thoughts. So it really makes me question, which one is me? Are they both me? Seriously, it's me versus me up there. I just don't know what's happening. But that's a topic for another video, because the whole what is you, what is yourself is a whole, makes me feel weird. Even right now I'm feeling weird. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Back to the earlier story about me wishing death upon myself. Suffice to say that I'm so grateful that I don't have the power to click my fingers and death just strike me, because that is such a scary thought. So I'm very glad that I am a mere mortal with no powers that can't do that. I don't want that power. In summary, I do think about these concepts every now and then, and sometimes I do have new concepts pop up in the thought rotation of my brain just to spice things up, although it's already quite spicy up there. But I find it fascinating to think about, and I would be very interested to hear your thoughts on death. No matter how insignificant you think it would be, I will entertain all thoughts on death. Thank you for watching my second video, and I hope to make more. Alright, bye. Am I just the dead person talking about death? Like, honestly, who is to say? Anyway, I need to stop this video before I have an existential crisis. Is it existential if you're dead? Oh shit.